51st Air Mobility Operations Squad, and it is my honor to be your narrator. Throughout today's ceremony, you will be given various cues to stand and be seated at the appropriate times. As a reminder, during the national anthem and the Air Force song, all military members must stand at the position of attention. Our civilian guests should place their right hand over their heart during the national anthem. Well, hopefully everybody's having a good day. This is a joyous occasion. This is a happy time. Uh, Sometimes it takes a while to get family corralling together, especially with children and whatnot. So please be patient with us. We're gonna have to ad lib a little bit here. Everybody ready for sports? Coming up here shortly. Yeah. Cowboys fans. Boo! Okay. All right. I'm not gonna ask about the Eagles. But I'm excited. So let's see if they can do this upcoming season. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the performance of the national anthem by Ms. Paula Martin and the invocation given by Master Sergeant Orlando Salas.
You see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we won were so gallantly strewn, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs burst, gave
pray. Father, we give you thanks for today as you have allowed us to gather and celebrate a significant milestone in Chief Master Sergeant Richard Corey's distinguished career. Many of your children will know and have known the pride that comes with serving our great nation and being so blessed as to retire. Though the number of your children who reached the rank of Chief Master Sergeant prior to retirement is select and notable. Father, your word says, we all have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is to serve, then serve. If it is to encourage, then give encouragement. If it is to give, then give generously. If it is to lead, do it diligently. Lord, as I look out on the crowd and take note of those who are tuned in virtually, and take note of all the individuals that Chief Corey has influenced, let him know that you are pleased with his service to the United States Air Force. Let him know that you're pleased with how selflessly he gave, even when times may have made it tough to do so, he gave so generously. Lord, let him know you are proud of how you led diligently, according to your word and example. Father, as Chief Corey embarks on a new journey, please continue to bless him, his beautiful wife, Rosie, his son, Tristan, his daughter, Gabby, and her husband, Corey, and his amazing grandkids, Brady and Adam. Father, we would like to offer up prayers of comfort and protection to our military members serving in harm's way. May your light continue to shine, giving purpose to the convictions we all fight for. It is in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Martin and Master Sergeant Salas. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Today is a joyous yet bittersweet occasion, a celebration of grand accomplishment and the end of a long, faithful, and honorable career. Chief Master Sergeant Richard J. Corey has proudly served his country in the United States Air Force for 29 years. Today, we respect him, a time-honored military tradition, the retirement ceremony. Please join me in recognizing our official party and distinguished guests attending today's ceremony. Please hold your applause until the end. The presiding officer, Commander, 621st Air Mobility Advisory Group, Colonel Daniel Cook. Our honoree, Superintendent, 621st Air Mobility Advisory Group, Chief Master Sergeant Richard J. Corey. The Commander, 621st Contingency Response Wing, Colonel Douglas Jackson. The Command Chief, 621st Contingency Response Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Tony Jenkins. The Command Chief, 87th Air Base Wing, Chief Master Sergeant James Fitch. The Command Chief, 305th Air Mobility Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Rodolfo Yemez Jr. Also in attendance, Chief Master Sergeant retired David A. We are honored to have Chief Corey's family members here today, his wife and daughter, Roseanne and Gabby. His son-in-law, Corey Stevick, and his grandsons, Brady and Adam. And his brother and sister-in-law, Mark and Mary Hunter. We also extend a warm welcome to all commanders, senior enlisted leaders, first sergeants, brothers and sisters in arms, our Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst partners, and guests from the local community who have joined us today. Thank you for attending. It is now my pleasure to welcome the presiding officer of today's ceremony, Colonel Daniel Cook.
What a wonderful day. Good morning. Thank you for coming today. I really appreciate you guys being here. This is huge for my wingman and my good friend, Rich Corey. First, I'd like to say thank you to Al and Aggie, Rich's parents, that are in Florida. And I don't know if the angle is right and they can see me, but thank you so much for rearing such an amazing young man in Rich. And for siblings Tom and Al and Jonna, who also wanted to be here but couldn't attend and are viewing it live on Facebook, thank you for being some great siblings and helping to shape Rich. Rosie, you know that this man wouldn't be up here on this stage without you, so thank you. Tristan, he is in the Navy, just enlisted. This has been an amazing last year for Tristan and his story, and he wanted to be here, but we will get to hear from him a little bit later, so thanks, Tristan, and thank you for all your sacrifice. Gabby, thanks. You know, you're the apple of his eye, and he really adores you. So, heard a lot of stories over the last 2 years as we traveled about you and about Tristan. Brady and Adam and Corey, thank you for being here. It's really good to see you. Colonel Jackson, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being here. Colonel Hall, I know you couldn't attend but wanted to. Chief Corey and I couldn't have had a better teammate as a vice commander for the last 2 years. Thank you for always having our back and guiding us through some murky waters at times. Chief Jenkins, you know, the reason why we have the best Air Force in the world is because of our professional enlisted corps, and you're a great example of that, along with Chief Corey, and thank you for your team being part of the team. For Colonel Cyrus, Chief Dirksen, I think I saw you guys out. Thank you so much for being here. For Colonel Wade and Chief Bennett, welcome to the team. Thanks. We couldn't have better teammates in you guys. Thank you so much. I want to say a special thank you to Chief Jack Johnson, Major Justin Puckett, and Captain Jamie Alvaron. They're good friends of Rich's, and they wanted to be here, but they couldn't. But they shared stories with me about him, and we will get to those in just a few minutes. To every airman attending here, virtually every person, family, and friend, thank you for helping us honor 29 years of dedicated service to our friend, Rich Corey. You know, all this doesn't just happen, so I would like to thank the great team that put this together. Senior Master Sergeant Sullivan, Sergeant Schwartz, Sergeant Tate, Sergeant Hagan, Paul, what a wonderful rendition. And every time you sing, you move me to tears. Chief and I were just saying, this is going to be a tough day for us to get through if we can't even get through the national anthem. Well done. Master Sergeant Salas, wow, every time you bring it, brother, and I really appreciate your words in your prayer. It was good stuff. Thanks for the rank ceremony and detail, and a special thank you to Master Sergeant Nicolay, who actually put this all together in the EC, so thanks. And Chief Berg didn't want me to say hi to him, but hi. Thanks for being here. Sorry. All right. Rich always goes in, his philosophy for these types of events and instructing over the years is it needs to be 60% entertainment and 40% information. So here goes nothing. I've never written a book, but if I did, I would want to write it about someone like you, Rich. And it probably would go something like this. Chapter 1, Man on Fire. Now, I'm not talking about his ash-colored hair. I'm actually talking, you can laugh, guys. It's okay. This is supposed to be entertaining. And I'm not talking about his ash-colored hair. No, I don't want you to take it that way. Rather, Chief Rich Corey burns with a passion for people and mission rarely seen. He always has time for his fellow airmen. He burns with a desire to help people and to speak truth, even if it's awkward, and to have those tough conversations. He burns with a motivation to get the mission done right, which was instilled in him by his dad, who said, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. But before he was a man on fire, he was quite literally almost a boy on fire. Baby Chief Corey spent his first years up to age 9 in Brockton, Mass, in the shadow of the Patriot Stadium. If the shadow of the Patriot Stadium was 30 plus miles, yeah. Just talk to Rich about that, I don't know. But nonetheless, he formed all of his addiction for Boston pro teams at a young age. For the Boy on Fire piece, when he was around 7 years old, in the back of his house there were some woods, and him and his friend went to go set a fire, but they wanted to do it smartly, because, you know, Chief is wicked smart. So they found an old tire that they were going to contain the fire in. But, tires burn, right? So as the tire started burning, they were like, oh, well, we'll put it out, we'll smother it. And so they found a piece of plywood, and then they threw that on top of it to smother it. But no, of course, that burned as well. As they were running off and the fire department was responding to the fire that they just set, Father Al came out in the back of the house and said, what's going on, boys? And Rich, without missing a beat, said, someone started a fire back there.
It was true.
Someone did. About a couple of years later, they moved to Derry, New Hampshire, and this is where his pyrotechnic ways followed him. But this time with help from his brothers, Tom and Al, who were fixing a car in the detached garage, right? And there was a wood stove, and they were starting the wood stove, and Al and Rich already actually had it started, but the big brother Tom, he wanted to help out. So he took some accelerant in the way of a gas can with gas in it, and he just started pouring it on there, and then of course that set on fire, and the can started on, and Tom's going to save the day, so he hurls the can outside of the garage, but it missed the door and hit the wall, and that was engulfed in flames. So the Corey brothers did their best impression of volunteer firemen and put it out, so that was successful until baby sister Jonna actually told Al and Aggie, and then back to square one. Richie did something bad, and so thanks, little sister. What you really should take from these two stories is Rich is a survivor. He should be dead right now, but no, he's a survivor. But in all seriousness, Rich describes his childhood as a Leave It to Beaver childhood, which is a very old show that probably most of you guys don't know, but what it really means is it was picture perfect. Al and Aggie instilled in their children integrity, service before self, and excellence in all you do. And he knew this well before Chief Corey knew them as his core values that would shape his professional life as they did his childhood. Chapter 2, A New Family. When asked, Rich will tell you the Air Force is his extended family, but before he tells you, he will show you. His new family started when he enlisted a few months after the Gulf War ended in 1991. After basic, he went to his initial weather school in Illinois, which was significant because Rich Corey found his voice as the class clown. He was saying something in class which the instructor didn't appreciate, and the instructor broke the pointer right in front of his face where splinters flew all around, and without missing a beat, Rich said, "Is that fraud, waste, and abuse?" Which I'm sure the class really enjoyed, but the professor didn't and stormed out. So you assess this as you will, but the good in this is he was not afraid to call things out, and albeit even if he was partly to blame. After he survived tech school, Airman First Class Corey had a very hard assignment to Yokota Air Base, Japan. Seriously though, he did have a rough first couple of days really. It happened to be a record snowstorm of 11 inches in Japan. So they really didn't know what to do with that, wrecks all over the place. And this was followed up by the next day where the snow melted and it was zero viz and fog. And that's pretty important, but the most important thing that he told me about his time in Yokota was when a tech sergeant lost his father and he was on duty when the Red Cross called. And there was some delay in reporting to the tech sergeant and telling him, and Chief, or then Airman Corey, didn't think that was right. He thought that he should know that his father had passed away, so he took it on himself to go to his quarters in person and tell him that his father passed away. And he really appreciated it. His leadership team did not appreciate it because there's actually a process to do that, and Airman Corey unknowingly went around the process. Perhaps a little misguided, but Rich was willing to do the tough things to take care of people up and down the chain of command. About this time, his family grew with the birth of Gabby and then Tristan. Shortly after, he also went to Observer and Forecasting School, where he was a top student and graduate. The senior NCO at the school was so impressed, they told him, someday you should come back and be an instructor. Well, as fate would have it, he got another hardship assignment to Heidelberg, Germany. Kind of makes you want to be his kid, right? The young airman in class, or out here. want to be his kid, right? Going to Japan, Germany, and now they're going to retire in Florida. This is awesome. The posh life. In Germany, he really became a leader in title as well as in action, moving quickly to weather forecaster. Senior Airman Corey was hitting on all cylinders and deploying to Hungary to directly work for a major general. He was also testing for staff and had missed it by just a few points for the last 2 years. He was getting frustrated. And, but he didn't let that affect his job performance or the way he treated people. But one day, a supervisor saw him in the hallway and said, "Hey, Airman Corey, what do you think about that staff sergeant test? Do you think you passed? How do you think you did?" And the frustration started coming out. He said bluntly, "You know what, I don't even care. Sir, with all due respect, I did my best. I've missed it by a couple points the last 2 years. I don't care. I'm going to get out if I don't make it." And the major looked back at him and said, "Well, congratulations, Staff Sergeant." So, obviously, Rich was a little embarrassed and a little speechless, which doesn't really happen for us, right? We don't usually get speechless, but very humble nonetheless. Chapter 3, a deep dive. Staff Sergeant Corey headed to Guam, where really all I can tell that actually happened there was you honed your skills a little bit better as a weather forecaster, and you learned how to dive. And, in true form, as he got certified to dive, everything with Rich is family-oriented. That's essential. So his dad, Al, and his sister, Jonna, actually came out and visited, and they became dive certified as well. So the relationships in all of his assignments were the common thread and what Rich really, really cherished. He also had time for others and kind words to build people up. But this was also a tough time for him. And he needed some stability in his life. So Rich decided to have that stability in Keesler Air Force Base to come back as an instructor. Chapter 4, a new beginning. Rich was promoted to tech sergeant, and he showed why, writing the curriculum for classes he didn't even teach, and becoming an outstanding instructor and a standout instructor. And the instructor everyone came to get advice from. But all of these accolades and really Rich building up a chief's resume were paled in comparison when the man on fire met the woman that set his heart on fire. And Rosie was a Navy instructor at the school, and really the rest is history. Shortly thereafter, the Coreys were on the move again, and this time to Hawaii. I'm going to tell you, Germany, Japan, Hawaii, Florida. I went to Afghanistan. Anyways, we're going to switch this up a little bit now, and we're going to hear from some of your folks, but I'm going to read what they've said. And Captain Jamie Alberon wanted to take this time and to talk about some of the experiences of Wheeler and Hickam and through Lincoln. So I'll read his words. I first met then Tech Sergeant Corey in Hawaii in 2007. He was stationed at Wheeler at the time, and I was a staff sergeant stationed at Hickam. I was selected, along with Rich, to accompany a small contingent of folks to do the site visit to Bradshaw Army Airfield on the Big Island. The first thing I thought when meeting him was, this is him, this is not me. This is in quotes, okay? This guy has some big, exceptional teeth. I got to see a lot of them. He's talking about his teeth. I got to see them a lot. Because Rich was always smiling and laughing throughout the trip. He even went to buy a toothbrush when the rest of us went to a local candy store, which I found hilarious. Within that short trip, I knew that Rich was an outstanding guy who would do anything for his people. Fast forward a bit, now Master Sergeant Corey gets assigned to the 17th as my flight chief with then Captain, now Lieutenant Colonel Hansen. Remember that guy? Rich led an outstanding team. We won numerous awards due to Rich's mentorship and writing skills. I was one of many who benefited from Rich's gifts. He did such a great job that to our dismay, squadron leadership decided to move him to another flight which was struggling. Rich took the job on one condition. He would be allowed to take a sharp NCO with him. Apparently that sharp NCO was me. When flight leadership told me the plan, without hesitation I said, I'm not going. With Rich's help, I had just turned around 4 subpar airmen who I was supervising. I did not want to do that all over again. I knew I was going regardless, but Rich provided a great motivational speech on how we are going to change the squadron for the better. I was sold and thought, as long as Rich is with me, I'll be all right. About a week before the move, I get called back to the flight leadership office. I thought it was going to be another motivational speech, but instead, I'm told that Rich was just named the squadron superintendent. I thought, great. Now we don't have to move to the other flight. Wrong. I was still going. Captain Hansen and Rich sent me into the snake pit alone. Rich didn't abandon me, though. He kept helping me from the front office where he had more pull anyways. I was only there for a few months before I was pulled to be the NCOIC of training, and I know Rich put in a good word for me. Fast forward again another 4 years, and I find myself a newly commissioned second lieutenant at Langley. I was extremely happy knowing that I was going to be stationed with Rich again. It didn't take Rich long to get moved back into a superintendent position and then move on to NATO at Norfolk. However, in that time, I had the privilege of attending his chief induction ceremony, as well as doing one of his final reenlistments. I was stationed at Luke Air Force Base following my Langley assignment, and I was sent there to help fix a struggling weather flight. I was apprehensive about the position at first, but I thought about the time I was put in a similar situation at Hickam many years before. I thought about the speech Rich gave me and used many of the lessons he taught me about leadership and service. I used all of this to help turn that flight around. I now find myself at Peterson leading a weather flight through a major transition into support for space assets. I will continue to lean on those lessons that Rich taught me. And this is really special. He wanted to speak to the family as well. He said, Rosie, you are by far one of the coolest and most awesome people that I've had the pleasure of knowing. You are a genuine angel who helped Rich raise a beautiful family and have such an outstanding career. I hope my family emulates yours in love, closeness, and success. Rich owes a lot of his success to you and your love and support. I'm sure he's already made that clear. You did make that clear. Within 24 hours, I would make that clear. You're wingman. You're up. Gabby, it seems like just yesterday you were babysitting. Now you are married and a mother of 2 beautiful boys and pursuing a career on top of that. Truly amazing and wonderful. Tristan, congrats on beginning your military journey. I know Rich and Rosie planted the desire of service within you, but you made the personal decision to serve. For that, I thank you. Thank you both for supporting your dad throughout your entire lives. Military service is especially tough for military kids. Without your support, Rich would have had a much more difficult time getting to where he is today. And his final thoughts were for you, Rich. He said, the positive impacts that you had on people, units, and the Air Force in general can never be overstated. Personally, I would like to thank you for everything you have done for me and my family. Oh, and one more thing. Sorry about that time I borrowed your car and forgot to move the seat back to its original position. I hope you claim that injury on your disability. And then he says, long live Master Blaster. Is that like a kid video reference? No. Okay. Got it. Thank you, Jamie, for sharing. And so Jamie took us through Hawaii and jumped over a very short time in Korea, where you guessed it, Chief Corey done real good. And now we are at Langley Air Force Base with Senior Master Sergeant Rich Corey. The last chapter is called Jack. A little bit about Jack. He is formerly known as Chief Master Sergeant Jack Johnson, retired. He was the command senior enlisted leader for NATO. He retired just a year ago with over 35 years of service. He was the most senior ranking enlisted member when he retired. Before he retired, he needed an executive officer, and more than that, he needed a wingman who could put people first. He wanted a senior master sergeant he could help groom into a chief. He did an exhaustive search and couldn't find the right person until a general officer did something uncharacteristic. He said, I'll give you my best senior. His name is Rich Corey. When describing Rich, Jack said first, he is loyal. He is relationship driven. He is good humored, and I needed all of that to be the face of the Alliance to our partner nations. Rich was meeting with senior leaders across the Alliance all the way to the youngest enlisted member, and he related to all of them because they all mattered to Rich Corey. He told me the results of Chief Corey's year was promotion to chief. He led a conference bringing all of the senior enlisted members of NATO together for the first time. He was the lead for all the enlisted on staff, and he was the executive officer to Jack, culminating in a Joint Service Achievement Medal and a Defense Meritorious Service Medal. He then said, "What I didn't tell you was I'm a cancer survivor, and for 4 months, Rich had to carry the position for me while I was recovering. Even as busy as he was, he still came over to my house to just check on my well-being." He ended on an odd note. He said he believes he overshot a little bit on talking you up. Because he does have one fault, and it's a pretty significant fault. He's a Patriots fan. Jack, that's what Jack said. It's not what I said. Truer words have never been spoken. Anyways, after a very short stint in Hawaii, the Contingency Response Wing and the Air Mobility Advisory Group hired under Colonel Todd White, one of the most amazing people I have ever had the pleasure to spend some significant time with. I have had the distinct honor to literally travel the world with Rich and learn from him and see the culmination of these 29 years. He has been a wingman, a friend, and not to just me. We have shared many stages together, mostly spending our time taking care of airmen and telling them they matter. Each and every one of them matter. I could not have had a better teammate, and we could not have had a better chief. Major Justin Puckett described you as a husband and father, a real family man, a mentor, a superstar with a record of sustained excellence, Levitt winner, distinguished graduate. But most importantly, he said, when you work with Rich, he makes you better. He makes you a better airman. He makes you a better person. Rich talks about the last 29 years like they were yesterday. And he remembers names like he just got done talking to them. But that's Chief. Making real connections that last the test of time. He says his legacy will be the people, the relationships he's built, reminding us diversity is our strength in the Air Force, encouraging people to be life learners and making people better. The core values, he sees them as the most important thing binding us. And to him, integrity means honesty, whether the message is good or bad. Service is we're all part of this team. So make the service better and make the people better. And excellence is always striving to do right, just like his dad taught him. Chief, thank you for your dedication and service. Now let's make this official.
Thank you, Colonel Cook. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the reading of the medal and the publishing of the retirement order. The Meritorious Service Medal is read and recorded by Chief Corey's son, Petty Officer 3rd Class Tristan Corey. Additionally, Colonel Cook respectfully requests Gabby Brady to join them on stage to pin the Meritorious Service Medal on Chief Corey in his place.
Publish the order.
This is certified by the President of the United States of America, authorized by Executive Order 16th of January 1969,
has awarded the Meritorious Service Medal, 5th Oak Cluster, to Chief Master Sergeant Richard J. Corey for meritorious service, 16th of July 2017 to 31st of July 2020. Chief Master Sergeant Richard J. Corey distinguished himself with the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Group Superintendent, 621st Air Mobility Advisory Group, 621st Contingency Response Group, Joint Base McGuire Mixed Lakehurst, New Jersey. During this period, Chief Corey led 350 personnel across 5 squadrons and relentless pursuit of excellence over 4 distinct mission sets. Additionally, he facilitated Group's involvement in 26 Chiefs of Staff level exercises validating operational plans for 6 combatant commands. Furthermore, Chief Corey enables the upgrade of 2 $4.5 million training suites into fully operational weapon system suites capable of reach-back operations for air operations centers worldwide. In addition, he oversaw the group's participation in AMC's largest mobility command exercise ever, providing command and control of 1,500 coalition forces from 26 nations, thus transforming the commander's vision and executable plans. Moreover, Chief Corey's leadership was vital to the flawless execution of 3 Air Mobility Command survival, evading, resistance, and escape exercises culminating in a 72-hour operation involving 5 government agencies, solidifying force protection tactics for 150 air advisors. Finally, he was pivotal in the creation of an expeditionary air-ground liaison element position, guaranteeing rapid deployment and joint warfighter capabilities globally. The singular distinctive accomplishment of Chief Corey culminated a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflects great credit to himself, United States Air Force.
For reading that medal. That was really special, if you couldn't tell by the emotion on your dad's face. So thank you for being a part of that and doing that. Public order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Washington, D.C., Special Order Number AC-009301. Dated 27 August 2019. Effective 31 July 2020. You are relieved from active duty, organization, and station of assignment. Retired effective 1 August 2020. Per Air Force Instruction 36-3203. In the grade of Chief Master Sergeant. Proceed to Coma selection by order of the Secretary of the Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, Colonel Cook will present the retirement certificate and letters of appreciation to Chief Corey.
We did practice this.
Yes.
It's all of you.
The retirement certificate reads, Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents greetings. This is to certify that Chief Master Sergeant Richard J. Corey, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of August 2020. Signed, General David L. Goldman, Chief of Staff to the Air Force.
Can you get rid of the blood?
The presidential certificate reads, I extend to you my personal thanks sincere appreciation of a grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history for their devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. I trust that in the coming years, you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you serve. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. Signed, Donald J. Trump, Commander-in-Chief. Chief Corey is also receiving a certificate of appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, which reads, I am proud to join your friends, family, in congratulating you on your retirement from the United States Air Force. The achievements and contributions you have made throughout your career are indicative of the core values of our great service. Your retirement is well deserved, but your selfless contributions will be sorely missed. On behalf of all airmen, thank you for your faithful and devoted service to our nation. As this chapter in your life closes and a new one begins, I hope the years ahead are filled with more great memories and continued success. Signed, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Khalif O. Wright. The Commander of the United States Air Force Expeditionary Center presents a certificate to Chief Corey, which reads, Dear Chief Corey, on behalf of the men and women of the United States Air Force Expeditionary Center, congratulations on 29 years of distinguished service to our country. You have witnessed many changes in our Air Force and have served under demanding conditions, spanning the spectrum of war and peace. Throughout your career, you and your family have faced hardships and made personal sacrifices. It has been your steadfast devotion and a greater purpose that has made all the difference. As you retire and turn the first page of a new and exciting chapter in your life, Bernadette joins me in offering our heartfelt appreciation and deep admiration for your selfless service and sacrifice. Godspeed, and best wishes for continued success. Signed, Major General John R. Corey II. Ms. Corey, please join your husband on stage. Ms. Corey is being presented with a certificate from the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, which reads, Certificate of Appreciation from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents a certificate of recognition to Ms. Roseanne M. Corey for the commitment and numerous contributions that make positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Signed, General David L. Goldman, Chief of Staff of the Air Force. Gabby, would you please join your parents on stage? Both Gabby and Tristan received certificates from the Commander, United States Air Force Expeditionary Center. Which reads, this is to certify that Gabrielle B. Corey and Tristan J. Corey, on the occasion of the retirement of their father from active duty with the United States Air Force, has earned a grateful appreciation for their own unselfish, faithful, and devoted service. Their unfailing support and understanding helped make possible their father's lasting contribution to the nation. Signed, Major General John R. Corey II. Gabby, you may be seated. Ms. Corey, please remain on stage. At this time, Ms. Corey will present Chief Corey with the retirement pin.
So happy to do this.
Placing the pin on Chief Corey's lapel symbolizes his transition from active duty to retired status. In the future, each time Chief Corey wears his unit's attire, this pin will serve to remind all that he has served faithfully and has earned retirement. This pin indicates he is still a member of the Air Force, but now serves in retired status. Chief Corey, please wear this pin proudly on any occasion in which you represent the Air Force. Thank you, Mr. Corey. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now offer a tribute to Chief Corey and to the flag of the United States of America. Please remain seated and draw your attention to our retirement ceremony detail as they honor our nation's flag. Airman Basic, 19 July, 1991. Let the bugle blow, let the march be played, with the forming of the troops for my last parade. Airman, 19 January, 1992. The years of wars and years of waiting, obedience to orders, unhesitating, years in the States and years overseas, all woven in a web of memories. Airman Force Class, 19 November, 1992. A lifetime of service passes in review, as many good friends are made and exotic places are traveled. Senior Airman, 14 July, 1994. The waning sunlight begins to fade with the martial music of my last parade. Staff Sergeant, 1 February, 1999. My salute to the service and the base. Now someone else will take my place. Technical Sergeant, 1 June, 2003. To the sharp young airman marching away, I gladly pass the orders of the day. Master Sergeant, 1 June, 2007. Though uncertain of what my future may hold, still if needed before I grow old. Senior Master Sergeant, 1 June, 2012. I'll keep my saber sharp, my powder dry, lest I be recalled to duty by and by. Chief Master Sergeant, 1 April 2016. So let the bugle blow, fire the evening gun slowly, lower the colors, my retirement has begun. Chief Master Sergeant retired, effective 1 August 2020. At this time, Technical Sergeant Schmitz would like to present Chief Corey with a memento.
Chief, we sat down, we talked about what you wanted as far as a display, some kind of a table to show a little bit of your history throughout the Air Force. And I even made the joke that some of these pins in here I have not seen. There are some that do not have the star in the center. I thought maybe they belonged in an antique museum. But everything the Chief has here is a representation of his time. He has his different ranks, his different name patches from the different uniforms he's worn, the different patches from the different match comps he's been in, and then all of his different awards and medals that he has inside the box. And you can absolutely tell that the Chief loves the Air Force, because when I asked him what color he wanted the stain to be, you can see it's a reddish color, just like all of the office furniture that we have throughout. So he will continuously be reminded of the Air Force anytime he goes to this, at any time, look at what he has here. And it was my privilege and pleasure to make it for you.
Chief Master Sergeant Dirksen, sir, please come up and present Chief Corey with your memento.
Install this.
I'm not even looking at you, 'cause you're all crying and stuff. So, what we got here, as the elder statesman from the Chiefs group, I got here in 16, you followed me a year later. So I was part of the executive council and have been many times for the Chiefs group here across the joint base. And every time a tasking goes out or something to, help out a panel, help out airmen, Rich was always like, it was like a competition, like who could email faster, me or him. He was always there first. He was always there for airmen, not just 621st Airmen, any airman on this installation, and there's a lot of us, right? So Rich, for that, I appreciate you. Maybe a little wood thing to go so if you guys haven't seen the end of trail statue before, I showed it to my wife this weekend as I was putting the wood together, and she's like, man, it's kind of depressing. And I'm like, no, it's representative that you've been to battle, brother. 29 years. It's a long time, right? And it's over. These people in this audience will carry on the fight for you. So that's from the Chiefs group. I just want to say thanks. Love you, brother.
Senior Master Sergeant McMahon, please come up to present Chief Corey with your memento.
29 years. One relationship's been a constant thing is about, what we've heard during everybody's speech has been relationship. But I want to know how his relationship with the assignment functional from all these awesome assignments that you guys do.
Pretty good. Yeah.
29 years, crazy. But we want to get together all the SEMs from 5 coasts, or from 2 coasts, 5 squadrons. We want to get together and give you something a little special. It's got your name engraved on it. At first, I got here about 18 months ago. We've all talked, kind of brought us all together, and they hit it right on the spot about the relationship. You brings everybody together, make sure that we all work together and pretty much get the mission done. We appreciated it. Thanks for always telling us what we needed to hear, not what we wanted to hear. So we appreciate it. Congratulations to you and Rosie. Sunny forward, trading the boots out for the Crocs. There you go. Enjoy it. It's got your it doesn't have the 9 golf. That's why I asked the superintendent meeting about the AFSC was. So. Appreciate it. Go ahead. All right. Thanks. And on behalf, I don't know what more to say, but on behalf of the entire AMAG, we want to congratulate you for your retirement, 29 years. Want to get the plastic. Thank you. Appreciate it. And enjoy it.
At this time, please come up to present Chief Corey with your memento.
All right, Rich, this is on behalf of the CRW Chiefs, since you got the JVMDL Chiefs Group presentation over there. So I'll tell you, this is for your leadership and your mentorship, not only to your airmen within your group, but also to all the superintendents and chiefs within this wing. So we can't thank you enough for that. Every meeting that we had, you were always out and linked some information to us, and you kept guiding us to move forward, which is absolutely phenomenal. We appreciate everything that you've done for this wing. So when we were trying to come up with a gift to give him, a few chiefs came up with the idea of giving him a knife. And honestly, I didn't realize the symbol behind it. I just thought it was cool because it was a knife. I was a kid, loved playing with knives anyway. So it was definitely a good gift, I thought. However, Chief Farley mentioned it the other day. We have a few chiefs that are going away or retiring, so we have presented one before, talking about to symbolize all the knife fights that we've had behind closed doors to help our airmen out. And I'll tell you, Rich would be knee-deep in some of those battles behind closed doors for each and every one of you to help you out. I'll tell you, he was actually right more often than not, which was pretty impressive for a weatherman. because of what's going on in the career field, but it was definitely something to see. And we have some small engraving on here for you. It's more of a personal note, and you'll get it when you read it. But we let it off with good day. So I don't know if any of you had correspondence from Rich before, but he always leaves it off with good day. So it's a kind of a symbol of who you are, because you're always looking for the good. Whether that's good day, hey, this person won an award, or there's a beautiful baby boy that's born, or it's good day, Tony, you're an idiot. All right, that happens quite as well. But that does, bring out the best in you, and that you're always looking for the good in people. Whether that's something that's truly good, or it's really just a good day for an ass chewing. And I've received a few of those from you. I just want to say, you and Rosie as well. Something you have that you didn't get.
You're welcome.
Oh. Sorry, I was trying to get into the EC. All right, I'll put this over here. Real quick, I just want to say to Rosie, thank you very much for lending him to us and allowing him to serve for us, and we wish both of you the best of luck down in Florida. So hopefully Dirk and I will see you down here in 3 years.
At this time, Colonel Cook and his staff would like to present Chief Corey with a memento.
This is kind of cool, I think. So we reached out to, I need the staff up here. Sandy, can you come up? Sergeant Hay, Colonel Hay, it's from all of us. Sergeant Zong, yeah, come on. So we reached out to the Patriots organization, and they were like, nah, but no, they sent us some stuff, and so come on here. Let's go. We're all getting pictures here with Chief. That's right. Don't be shy. And so we got a signed picture of Troy Brown and a letter from the Kraft family and the 2019 New England Patriots picture. And this is your flag. It's over there, flying over Gillette Stadium. Thank you.
You see Tom Brady in Florida? I'll show him. I'll go, hey, this is where you're supposed to be.
And there was just this one little small gift. You're going to do a lot of beach time, I'm thinking. There's a little gift for Rosie, too, for a beach bag with her name on it. But it's a cooler, and it also, as you're aging, can kind of be something to rest on. Back and stuff. So.
Chief, can I have you take a seat? You're gonna need these.
Obviously, right?
Right, we know that your family couldn't be here, after 29 years of service, thank you. With the help of Miss Rosie, we had friends and family reach out to do a little video. So, for modification purposes, it was 30 minutes long. I didn't know he had that many friends. So we did cut it down, but we do have the full 30-minute video to give you later.
Warning. This video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness. Viewer discretion advised.
Hey, I want to wish you a happy retirement. Congratulations on making to the non-retirement as a Chief Master in the Air Force. I love you. I'll talk to you later.
Congratulations on your retirement. We love you. We're so proud of you. And we hope you like this video.
Congrats.
Hi. Little did we know, 29 years ago, when we took Richie's basement, that he'd be gone this long, and look like this, turn out like that. wish you all the best.
Hi, Rich. Well, something I wanted to say. We're so happy and so proud of you for all the years that you've given to us. And I, for one, will not feel near as safe as I have in the last many years of my life. So just enjoy your time and enjoy everything. We love you.
Hey, Rich, congratulations, 30 years. We got free room and board, free clothes, family, conversations, all that. So all you have to do to get all that is do everything all the time. So thank you so much for your service. Very much appreciate that. Can't wait to see you as well.
Listen, I just wanted to really thank you for everything that you've done for me as a mentor and as a leader, for not only me and my family. You are the reason I'm here right now in college training. So I wanted to wish you the best for all your future endeavors.
Congratulations, Uncle Richie, on your retirement.
We wish you
The very best on your future endeavors. That's a great accomplishment. We love you so much.
bye. Congratulations.
Congratulations on your retirement. It's been a hell of a ride over 28, 29 years. I know you're going to enjoy your new home, down in Florida, religions, retirement, spending with grandchildren. I want to thank you for the last 2 years. It's been great working with you. You've been a great friend. Wish you well. Enjoy retirement and keep in touch. Godspeed.
Rich and Rosie, from Melissa and I, congratulations.
We're so very honored to be able to serve with you. We thank you so much for all that you've done behind the scenes over the last 29 years to serve Airmen and their families.
Chief, you've been an amazing wingman to everybody, but especially to me over the last 2 years. And I just want to say a heartfelt thank you. And Rosie, thank you so much for all that you've done. You're definitely his better half, and we wish you all the best down in Florida and blue skies wherever you go and whatever you do. God bless you guys. We love you.
Happy retirement, buddy.
Congratulations. Happy retirement.
Rich, congratulations on your retirement. 29 years is a long time. You've had a stellar career. And I think the Air Force is losing a tremendous asset with you being gone. Excited to see what your future holds for you, bud. And I hope to see you soon. Take care.
Congratulations, Richie. We're so proud of what you accomplished in the Air Force and all the sacrifices you made for your family. We wish you nothing but happiness in Sarasota, and I really hope my sister doesn't drive you crazy. We love you both. Congratulations, Richie. We're so proud of you.
Yeah, Rich, congratulations on your retirement. You know, when you're chapter ends, no one begins. So I wish you nothing but the best. We love you, brother.
Hey, Rich. Congratulations on 29 years. A huge accomplishment. You should be really proud of yourself. So listen, I know you've worn many hats over the years and gotten held some really important titles. But I just want to let you know that one title near and dear to my heart is hero. You have managed to always be there for me, no matter where you are, thousands of miles away at times. And I truly, truly appreciate that. So congratulations on today. I really wish I could be there to celebrate with you, but I know we'll be celebrating soon in person. Until then, again, congratulations. I'm so very proud of you, and I love you very much. Cheers.
I just wanted to congratulate you on your retirement. Thank you so much for all that you've done for the past 29 years in the Air Force. And I hope this next phase of your life treats you very, very well.
Congrats, Uncle Rich, on 29 years in the military. I'm sure the next chapter of your life you'll succeed in. Congrats.
Hi, Richie. We wanted to congratulate you on your retirement.
Congratulations.
We're very proud of you. We miss you guys very much.
Thank you for all your years of service.
Yeah. We hope to see you guys soon. We miss you.
Miss you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Hi, Richie. Thank you for everything you've done for our country. Congratulations on many years of service. Hopefully you get to enjoy the rest of your life and have a great one. We all love you. Thank you again.
Congratulations, Richie. Looking forward to spending some time with you guys down in Florida.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Congrats, man, on an awesome career. Nearly 3 decades. I just wanted to say thank you for all your mentorship, but more so your friendship through all these years. I appreciate it. I love you. And here's to the next chapter.
Congratulations on your retirement.
Congratulations, Richie. Hope to see you in Florida real soon.
Chief Corey, congratulations on your retirement. Good luck in the next chapter in your life and your future endeavors. It's been great knowing you as a friend, leader, and mentor. Thank you for all the talks, your guidance, and your direction. Good luck. Take care.
Hi, Richie.
Hey, Richie.
Thank you so much for all of your service.
Congratulations on your retirement.
Enjoy all of that time off down in Florida.
Rico's still the best.
We love you.
We love you.
Happy retirement, Uncle Richie.
Congratulations on your retirement. Thank you for your many years of service. And I want to personally thank you for some of your mentorship, your guidance, and some of the opportunities that you made possible for me and my family.
Hey, Richie, just want some congratulations on your retirement, man. Great accomplishment. We're proud of you. Hopefully we all find more time to hang out and spend more time maybe vacation with it. Either way, enjoy it. Enjoy that new crib over in Florida. Look forward to checking that east out and love you. Take it.
We were only stationed together a couple of short times, but I can honestly say you had a direct impact on my career. Thanks for all the guidance.
Congratulations. We'll miss you. And yeah, that's it. Thanks. Bye.
Congrats, my friend. I am so excited for you to move on to this next chapter. And I can't wait till I get to visit you guys in Florida.
Congratulations on your retirement, Richie, from Auntie Grace, Grandma, and me. Love you. Thank you for your service. Enjoy, young man.
Congratulations, little brother.
Chief Master Sergeant Richard Corey, enlisted July 1991, retired August 2020. From all of your friends and family, thank you for your 29 years of faithful service. You will be missed.
Chief Corey would like to present flowers to his wife and daughter as a humble token of recognition for their amazing support during their faithful service along the journey. Through all the highs and lows, they have provided the laughs and the drive needed for all of them to reach this point together. Chief Corey, it has been truly an honor to serve with you in the Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you Chief Master Sergeant Richard J. Corey, retired. Sir, the floor is yours.
So I'm gonna have to go by script because the wife told me that when I get off the train tracks, it goes really ugly at times, and really when it gets stopped up. So the flowers, people. I mean, I can't believe how much pollen is in those things. It's an amazing thing. So first and foremost, thanks to the guests, General Gordy, General Klein, and Chief Christopher. Thanks so much for letting us use this facility. This is such a beautiful facility, and it really made the day. More importantly, thanks for your continued support. Thanks for our support in the CRW and all that we do. We're successful because of you. Thank you to the wing commander, Colonel Jackson. Thanks so much for being out here, sir. Your leadership came in at the right time, and you've really driven the organization forward and up.
we wouldn't be nearly successful. So Tony, thank you. Thanks for being out here. And also Colonel Hall, I know he can't be out here, but he jumped in when we needed him, and he continues to support us each and every day. Thanks to Colonel Cook for officiating today. He said, I really don't have to give a speech because he just about went through my entire career. But we spent a lot of time together on the road, and he is my wingman. His new love is LaCroix. But I will tell you that no matter how many times we travel, he always orders cider beer. And I've told him time and time again that it's not beer. It's just hard cider. But he doesn't listen, right? And so I thought he was just making this stuff up. But it turns out that LaCroix now has a LaCroix beer. And so I went ahead and picked him up a case of LaCroix beer, just to say thank you. My mistake, I didn't realize. But really, truly, we've traveled a lot together. Him doing the ceremony today for me was such an honor. And he really summed up things. He told stories that I couldn't tell, so I appreciate that as well. Because I'd be a mess, you know. And thank you, Melissa, as well, his beautiful wife, for coming out today. They are getting ready to go on awesome next assignment to Hawaii. We look forward to seeing you guys both again, hopefully soon. We're not too far in the future, but enjoy Hawaii. It's going to be beautiful. Thank you to my wife, Rosie. I'll talk a little bit more about her. But I'm going to try not to get too savvy because my daughter, Gabby, son-in-law, Corey, grandsons, Brady and Adam. He looked for a second. And thank you also to my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, Mark and Mary, for making the trek down from PA today, bright and early. Mark worked an overnight shift and still got in the car, so thank you. We have a bed at home, so you can take it now. To my parents, my sister, my brothers, Tom and Al, friends and family. Most of them can't be here, but they're out in cyberspace. We just wish that you could be here. That should be it, right? It's all easy from here. Thanks to our mission partners, the 87th, Bill, you've been a tremendous friend here. To Derek Crowder on the West Coast at the 60th Air Mobility Wing, and Rudy, thanks so much for coming out. I greatly appreciate it, my friend. Your time is so valuable, so I appreciate you taking quite a bit of time to come out here and spend with me. And thanks to Chief Dave Abel, who was our previous command chief, did a great job. I know he doesn't look it because he's got the beard going now, but once upon a time he looked just like me, shaved face. So I don't know if now I have to shave this and grow this. Is that what it is? Grow this. Yeah. But to you and Jackie, please tell her thank you as well for just being great friends. Thanks to all of our sister groups, Colonel Cyrus, Dirk, thank you so much, my friend. Truly love you, my friend. And the 821st CRG out on the West Coast, Colonel Will Wade and now Richie Bennett, but really most of the time it was Jamie Van Noss and then Brian Whitley. Thanks so much for just being great partners. Thanks to a whole slew of other ones too that have kind of come before. Jamie Van Noss, Steve Hart, Matt, and all the other great chiefs that I've had the opportunity of working with over the last 4 years. Thank you to the first sergeants. Gotta represent, man. Gotta represent. Thank you to the Devil Raider Airmen in attendance today. All of you that have come out, it means a lot to me. Before I get too far along on the line, let me thank the dynamic duo that put this together, and that's Shay Sullivan. Like they keep exiting stage right, it's really strange. Shay Sullivan and Tech Sergeant Jasmine Tate, thank you so much for doing this for us. Miss Paula, oh my God. I mean, every time I hear it, it is such a beautiful rendition. I appreciate you coming down from New York to do this for me today. We miss having you on this base, and we need to have you here more often because you're an inspiration to all the airmen here. Good. We want to get you back. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And First Sergeant Salas, the invocation. It was beautiful. How can you start a ceremony and from the start you guys are jerking my tears out? It was like instant. But your words were exactly what they needed to be, right? Because it's a start for us in the future. It's a blessing on our families and a blessing on the people that are in harm's way. Thank you. As far as the flag detail, top notch airmen, every single one of them. I can't believe that you've on another airman basic. I absolutely love that you guys were all out there participating in that. Thank you so much. He's hiding out up there in the corner, right? But thank you. And then the gifts. You guys are way too generous. Colonel Cook was way too generous on saying nice things about me. Everybody sent in videos. Thank you so much. We will definitely sit down and watch them tonight. Love each and every one of you. Schmidt, thank you so. I mean, that shadow box is exactly what I envisioned, and truly, it's going to have a great place in our home for decades and decades to come. So that's the intro. Like, wow. I wasn't joking when I said I get paid to talk for a living. I mean, this is what I do. But when I started sitting down to write down names of all the people over the last 29 years, it was too long. So bottom line, I'm going to stay away from names, at least for the most part. There's a couple I have to mention. But I'm going to flash back. I'm going to flash back 29 years to Yokota. Again, I was an airman basic. It's a rarity to step foot on a base as an airman basic. I'll tell you what, though, it was kind of cool, right? Because every once in a while when you're walking around, you don't have rank on or on your sleeves, people salute you. And so what do? You salute them right back, carry on, right? Keep moving. But that wasn't the number one thing that I remember. What I remember about Yokota is that it was a family. I remember that it seemed like we were all airmen. There was a couple NCOs, and they looked out for us. There was I think there's a master sergeant. I know there's a couple different master sergeant finals through there. There was no senior. There was one flight commander, and then there was a chief. And to be honest, I don't remember the chief's name. I saw him every once in a while, you know, when we went and grabbed his trash or something like that. But those are the ones you learn from, right? You learn not to be that person. The people that I really remember are the staff, or the senior airmen through those tech sergeants, the technical experts, the Al Hills, the Dan Johnsons, the Ron Comers. And I learned to learn just as much from a good leader as you do a bad. Heidelberg. And I'm not going through every assignment. They were all hardships. You all know that. You heard them. Heidelberg, Germany, worked with the Army. When I arrived there, the first thing I remember was grabbing a Volkswagen Bug. You know, I needed a Beetle. I needed something to get them. And trust me, the Volkswagens are very different now from when they were back then. But this was, I think, a Mexican stamped Bug. So they were exporting them from Mexico into Germany. It was a great little car. It was enough to get me from point A to point B while I was waiting for my car to get there. But I had a family, a young daughter, and a newborn baby boy. And we were going somewhere. We were somewhere near the airfield, and it broke down. I mean, go figure, huh? Volkswagen break down. Did you know that? Cost a lot to fix. So along came a car, and it was two senior master sergeants. Senior Master Sergeant Laird Broomfield and Ron Padgett. And they stopped, you know. And they were trying to help me troubleshoot, and we were trying to figure it out. I mean, height of technical performance, you know, Volkswagen Bug. But we couldn't figure it out. So instead of leaving me there, they went and got a strap, and they towed me about 30 minutes to a auto hobby shop. And we put it up on the lift, and we did a couple different things, and then we realized that the gas pedal is just a line, static line that connects from the pedal to the actual carburetor. Pretty simple thing. On one end, it unhooked, just like one of your brake levers. And so we fixed it. But well, they probably thought it was nothing. They left an indelible impression. what a servant leader should be. And definitely something I should emulate. And the only other thing I really remember about Germany is the good beer. I miss that. But in truth, there were so many opportunities. I worked the first big major I-4, S4 redeployment out of Bosnia and Herzegovina and Croatia. And other exercise with unit, in the unit that other people didn't want to do. And what I realized was that if you jump at those opportunities, doors open. Things become available to you that you wouldn't have otherwise. And what those were some really great places, like Norway and some other really cool places I got to go. So when I was leaving, I wanted to get back to Japan. I really go to Japan, but I got Guam, which the boss explained. I'm a scuba diver, absolutely love it. My favorite pastime, besides sitting at the beach with my wife. Huh? We like that. So I will say after 3 years with fog and cloudy days, they sent me to a nice little tropical paradise in the Pacific. And I know what you're thinking, another hardship duty assignment, right? I mean, somebody's got to do it, might as well be me. But it was great. It was great seeing that PACAP and ACC and AMC all converged, right? The way they meshed their talents in order to project global power, make sure that we refueled and did all of those type things. It was just an awesome assignment. I will tell you, my attitude wasn't the best. He talked about like promotions. I mean, I was getting close to 8 years in. I had made staff, but I hadn't pinned on yet, and my attitude wasn't the best. And so I started thinking about, the Air Force wasn't the best thing for me. What was on the other side? What was, the grass was definitely greener. And so I ended up looking for a job. One of my friends told me he'd hire me right on the spot. I was going to go work for Jetson International. And I thought, hey, this is where I'm going, right? I mean, the Air Force isn't for me. And I had 2 supervisors, Ralph Getzendanner and Dave Kraft, and what's that?
Your allergies.
I did get allergies. But they've been exacerbated by something. I don't know. But I will say that those 2 individuals, if they hadn't sat me down and talked to me, I wouldn't be here now. It's funny because that was 20 years ago, but it seems like yesterday. And it would have been a huge regret. But one of the things I realized was the only thing slowing me down was my attitude, right? Look at the world in a better way. And so a couple months after that, 9/11 happened. I had re-enlisted prior to that, and I turned the corner. I just started working hard. I will say that during that time, 9/11, without the family, without the people that I worked with, helping me with childcare and those type of things, I wouldn't have gotten through it. The Fells, the Bridges, the Landrums. My time came pretty quick to an end there. I headed off to Keesler. They dragged me away from Guam. As a schoolhouse instructor, by far, it was my favorite assignment. I absolutely loved it. The job itself, right? Whatever job I'm in right now, I absolutely love. But just teaching airmen was such a great opportunity. Shaping young airmen and opening their aperture to mold them as a DSD before there was DSDs, before there was a label. The other thing that happened to me at Keesler was that I met my beautiful wife, right? She's my love, my wing woman. I know you're wondering how to end up with a Navy girl. I was doing the same at the time. But bottom line, we taught in a joint service schoolhouse. It was pretty much every service, and I just didn't hold it against her that she was in the Navy. But she's my biggest fan. Someone who always looks out for me. Somebody who cut my hair last night.
Yes.
And bottom line, we complement each other. So I absolutely love you. I know we're gonna travel together and have such a great time in retirement. She retired, by the way, out of the Navy as a senior chief last summer. So thank you. I can't talk about the schoolhouse, so I'm doing a quick shout out to the League of Extraordinary Weather Instructors. They were a special breed. A lot of them became chiefs. A lot of great friends there. Also, I will say that was where I really gained a huge appreciation for civilians. Gary Simans, and then some other civilians that followed, Mr. Greg Green, Mr. Keith Edwin, Bob Falvey, Miss Tony, Miss Tony's here, Miss Sandy, Eric Hamlin. Great civilians that really helped us move the ball forward each and every day. And then I went off to Hawaii. Hawaii, that's one of the benefits to marrying somebody joint service, Air Force and Navy, is you get the opportunity to go to really, hardship place like Hawaii. So off we went to Hawaii as a family, and it wasn't like we stayed there long, 7 years. 2 times we got to go back, so somebody had to do it again. Teamwork. What I learned in Hawaii was teamwork. You'll hear me say it time and time again, that relationships matter. Teams come in many forms. As I briefly started out in the Air Force, briefly mentioned when I started off in the Air Force, I realized that was the thing at Yokota. But that replicated itself each and every time I PCS'd. And so in Hawaii, they're called Ohana. We got a huge Ohana out there. Neighbors, co-workers, leaders, spouses, or leaders, spouses, co-workers, friends. They help me with the kids, they help me move. And really just being a better airman. And those come both Air Force and Army, and Navy alike. And so I just named off a couple people. Wes Brogan, Jamie Alberon, Brian Bridges, Justin Puckett, Al Hill, Mike Jennings, Anat Igumede, Liz Darnell. And some of them were mentioned by the Alberon and, some of the lieutenant colonels and things that we worked for. Just great people. Conyers, Darnell, Biskowski, Shields, Brian Graham, Amy and Steve Phillips, the Grables, Scott Weber. Again, it'd take too long if I named them all. If I missed you, know that I'm thinking of you. Know that on that 6 pages of names, your name was there. I hope that I was able to repay you just a fraction of the help you gave me. And the same is true with commanders and SEMs. Commanders and SEMs have been great throughout. And so while talking about them, I'll say that during our time here, we had some of the best teams. When it comes to SEMs, Larmedy, Felter, Rudquist, Minifield, Poe, Blow, Dean, Sullivan, Knight, Narberg, McMahon, and Richardson. They were all just tremendous people that could take the stage, take over for me at a moment's notice. Thank you. To our current team at the group staff, man, it's awesome what you all do each and every day. To the execs that take the work off of our shoulders, Miss Sandy, Mr. D, who we've had a lot of good times travel, a lot of laughs, a lot of cries together. Love you guys. Obviously, the back office staff, our training mans, we've had 2 of them. Cologne was up there. Zong, who personally helped me today, thank you, my friend. Resource supervisors, controls, admins, execs, and CAG members. I didn't tell you about every team that I've been a part of. I will say that the 17th WS 18 that Alberon talked about was one of the best teams. Camp Humphreys, Korea, man, what a team of professionals and innovation. People that did things smarter and made us be able to contact and communicate with the helicopters easier. I promise you all almost done with this. Langley showed me what resilience was as a team and all the things they were able to achieve. And through it all, the candle at home was burning with my mom, dad, sister, brothers, and their families opening their homes to us and our kids on numerous occasions. Thank you, and I love you. To the Silverbacks, Aguilars, Masterminds, Avengers, Monsters, families, thank you so much for your hard work and dedication to the mission. One of the final things I really want to talk about is strength and diversity. Over my time here in the military, I've just realized that we come from all different walks of life. We have people that come from the Great Plains. We got people that come from the Shires of Tennessee. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a Shire of Tennessee, but man, I opened my eyes to that. We have people that come from Kenya to Guam, the Philippines, airmen born in Puerto Rico but grew up in the Canary Islands, members from France, some from England, members that spent part of their childhood in New York and the other half in South Africa, airmen from the Bayou that had to evacuate due to hurricanes and grew up in Colorado. These are the airmen we have. They're all great, great airmen, and it doesn't matter where you're coming from, whether you're a high school graduate, a college graduate, whether you're a single airman, whether you have families and you decide to join after. We all come for different reasons, but we all stay for the same, the people. Hell, I even knew somebody who got out and ran for Congress. When we harness all this together, that diversity makes us stronger. Continue to build bridges. As the boss always says, and I know it's in your heart, each and every one of you matter, right? He absolutely loves each and every one of you. You both do. I learned the most about, I always thought I was a people person until I met Jack Johnson. So the one thing I did that I thought my wife was going to kill me about was I was approached by a chief and two chiefs, and they asked me if I wanted to go work in NATO for Jack Johnson. I said, absolutely. And then after I did that, I thought, wait a minute, she's in the Navy, I'm in the Air Force. Can we be stationed together, or where am I going? What did I do? Luckily for me, I actually ended up moving closer to my house. And Chief Jack Johnson was by far the very best mentor I've ever had. Great friend. He likes to cite an old African proverb, and it says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. That's what we got to do. That's the strength and diversity. Finally, work-life balance. Don't forget your families. We all have a final day in the military. Make no mistake that today is mine. I know I can rest easy knowing that each and every one of you will carry the torch. Freedom into the future. I wish that I always had the right family work balance. And we ask so much of our families, frequent moves, foreign lands, uprooting them from comforts they know and making them learn it all again. While my kids, worldview rivals many other kids, there were little things that they didn't get to do because of being in the military. But Rosie and I think both agreed that we must have done something right, because our daughter just gave birth to our second grandchild, and our son Tristan is in the Navy, training to be a nuclear machinist mate. We're so very proud of both of them and all that they did. He surprised me the other day with a new watch. I'm wearing it now, Tristan. I love you. What you heard, hopefully today, was family, opportunities, attitude, teamwork, relationships matter, and learning. I didn't really talk about learning, but we're continuous learners. Over and over again, I talked about the people I learned from. The why. Why do we do what we do? Freedom, peace, stability for the United States and our partners worldwide. The outstretched hand of hope, as the boss likes to say. God bless America. And thank you for your continued service to our nation. God bless you and your families. Thank you.
Please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official department.
Off we go, it's a wild blue yonder, climbing high in the sun. Here they come, so we need our thunder. Attaboys, give her the gun, give her the gun. Down we die.
He's like, why is everybody stopped? What is going on?
So, this actually does not conclude the ceremony. There's more. If you would please, sir, follow Sergeant Tate, as well as everyone else.
All right.
Hey, Matt.